What's up, self-healers? Lisa Lightfeather here. Welcome to my channel, Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. Today, I wanted to speak on the topic of transforming oneself. Yes? And so, transformation is a vital part of spiritual growth. But transformation can be very painful. Yeah? So it's like letting go of something that we have identified with very closely or very personally, right? And so it is a part of our journey. It is not the totality of our journey. But sometimes we get so stuck in a way that we have a difficult time releasing certain parts of your journey. And just because one releases certain parts of their journey, you have to excuse me, we don't have pine trees in Texas. And there's pine trees everywhere, so my allergies are acting crazy. But just because one releases or shifts a certain part of their journey does not mean they are no longer that, right? So I was a soldier for 22 years. Now, I don't get up every sunrise and put on my boots and put on full battle rattle and grab my rifle. I don't report to formation at 4:30 for us to be to start physical fitness at 6:30. I don't do any of that stuff anymore, right? But if you drop me off in the middle of the woods and told me to survive, the soldier in me would kick in like that. Even if I'm doing something as simple as going camping, the soldier in me would kick in like that. I know how to build a fire. I know how to build a shelter. Yeah? I know how to camouflage. I know all those things. I know how to mask my scent. I know all those things, right? And so all of these things have, although I don't do them on a daily basis, it's still a part of who I am, right? And so when I got out of the military, you got a lot of people to get out of the military, and they are, they have every award they've ever received on a baseball cap, or they have every award they've ever received on a t-shirt or on the bumper of their car, because they have evolved out of the military. They have moved away from the military, but they haven't necessarily evolved out of it, right? They still identify wholeheartedly with being a veteran, with being a soldier, because that was the highlight of their life. And so they identify very strongly with that. Now, I am not belittling any highlights in a person's life, because being a soldier and being a veteran is something to be very proud of, right? But I don't rise in the sunrise. I don't rise with the sun and say, okay, I'm a soldier. I just know that in my heart that I am that. It's not something that I have to live every day. But if it has to kick in, I'll pull out the information that I have, or the skills that I have in regards to being a soldier, and I'll take those out and use them. Well, the same thing applies to anything that you do in life. Yes? And so let's talk about callings and spiritual callings, where we feel obligated. Like I felt obligated to serve the American people. That was my mindset at the time that I was a soldier. I felt obligated to deploy and go to war. I felt obligated to do these things. But once I move away from the military, I'm not obligated to do anything, right? But I still have those gifts that the military gave me. So even with spiritual gifts, sometimes we start identifying so heavily with these gifts that it becomes who we are as a person every single day, everything that we do. We feel obligated to the people. We feel obligated to live up to this title or this identity that we've built around ourselves in the process of walking our path or walking our calling, right? And so when you're somebody like me, you give wholeheartedly everything that you have, whatever it is that you're doing. All of you is in there. Yeah. Now I'm multitasking. I have other things going on to the left, the right, up and down, back and forth. But my calling, I am obligated. I'm heading eyes straight forward, and I am going to show up to the fight every single time. I'm going to show up every day to that calling. Yeah. Because we tend to feel like once we have built this identity around ourselves that we owe people to keep that identity going. Well, I'm here to share with you that that's not the case. Yeah? Now, sometimes it can be difficult releasing these identities that we've built around ourselves. It can be very hard because we so closely identify with it. Now, what I want to stress is that although you can still identify with it, right? It's still a part of you. Just like I don't identify with being a soldier, but if you drop me in the middle of the woods with 10 other people who weren't soldiers, I'd be the one to survive. Because I would be the one that made sure everybody survived because I have that skill, right? If you put me on a range and tell me to shoot an M4 or an M16, and I'm surrounded by people who have never fired this weapon, I'm more likely to be more accurate, right? Because I have this skill. Yeah. And so it hasn't went anywhere. It's just I don't identify with it anymore. The same thing with our spiritual callings. We have to evolve. We have to. We cannot stay in the same place for the rest of our lives. Well, you can if you want to, but look at all the life lessons that you'll be missing, right? And so in evolving, there should be a level when you know you're about to shift, when you know you're about to pivot, there should be a level of a few emotions, right? There should be a grievance because you are grieving what once was. But there should also be a level of excitement. The fact that you have the ability to recreate yourself. That's exciting. And a lot of times we don't know what we're recreating ourselves into, right? We just have this feeling that it's time to evolve. It's time to release stuff. It's time to let it go. This is weighing me down. This is no longer serving me, right? So when you evolve out of that thing, right, and you move on to whatever it is that Spirit has for you in this next level of your journey, you remember that if somebody dropped you back in that situation again, that you would still have the expertise. You could still be the subject matter expert because you've done it for years, right? You've done it for years. And so, although I walked away from the military, like I said, this scenario before, if you put me in that situation, I would fall right back into order. You understand? Or you understand because it's a part of me. The same thing with our spiritual gifts. If I move away from a spiritual gift because it's no longer serving me anymore, I don't feel like I'm being productive. I don't feel like I'm providing anything for the people any longer. Because it's not appreciated. Yeah. And so when it's not appreciated, I'm not going to stay there and suffer. You know, I've done it. I've done this last calling for 8 years. And so I feel like it's time for me to evolve in something else. Am I still that? Absolutely. I can't change the fact that I'm still that. But I'm still that in a different way. Just as I am still a soldier, but I'm still a soldier in a different way. Yeah? That's evolving. That's growth. A caterpillar can't stay a caterpillar forever. Eventually, it has to become a butterfly. Because as a butterfly, it has a job to do. A caterpillar can only pollinate so much by crawling over things. Touching this or touching that, a caterpillar may accidentally pollinate. But a butterfly can pollinate thousands. It can fly thousands of miles in its short lifespan. And so we too have a short lifespan when you really look at it. And so you want to ask yourself, what am I doing with my lifespan? And is it bringing me joy? Is it bringing me pleasure? Is it bringing me productivity? Am I beneficial to others? And if the answer is no, burn it all down and start over. We have to evolve. And evolving is painful. If you have a baby and that baby is crawling, at 9 months, 10 months, 12 months, and then that baby's still crawling at 2, 3, 4, and 5. The first thing we do is we look at that baby and we say, something is not right. Something is wrong, because this baby is not evolving, right? It's no different from us. I cannot and will not and do not want to, have no desire to be what I was 10 years ago. That's crazy work. I have no desire for that. Life is too short to get stuck in one thing. There's so many beautiful things that we can be and so many beautiful things that we can do. And growth is important. It requires courage to grow. Because it's easy to stay and be the same thing. There's deeper and higher dimensions to your calling that you haven't even tapped into yet. And Spirit is waiting on you to say, I'm ready. And then all doors are going to open up. And you're just going to walk through like the king or queen that you are. But you have to be the one to say that I'm ready. Human beings are constantly shifting. We're constantly shifting into something else. Now, what that something else is up to you. What that something else is up to you. People will have you stuck because they see you as the lady that sells candy on the corner store. And so every time they see you, you got some candy? Now, she done closed the candy store down. And now she's doing hair. Right? She's evolved into something else. But every time somebody see her, they going to ask her, does she have some candy? Now, she might carry a little candy in her pocket just in case, because she's still the candy lady. But in this moment of her life, in this level of her life, she's doing hair. Right? But people have a hard time. They put you in a box and they have a hard time seeing you being anything except for what they see you as. It's a trap. This is your life. And you only got one life to live in this lifetime. What are you going to do with it? What is it that you're going to do with it? Your spirit knows when it's time to move on. Yeah? Your spirit knows. You start feeling trapped. You start feeling like the walls are closing in on you. Now, a calling can be for a lifetime, a season, or even just a moment. When it's a lifetime calling, it never quite goes away. It's always there, right? It might shift directions. It might be on different phases. It may evolve into something else, but that calling is still there. So if you're a healer, for example, it's always going to be there in one facet or another. Like if it's a lifetime calling, you can't just not be a healer. You're going to continue to be that, right? If it's a season, it's just a chapter of your life. Your calling may be to be a husband or to be a wife, right? And then that relationship, that karmic relationship or that lesson may come to an end. And then your calling is no longer that. Your calling may be to be a mother or a father. And when your children are grown and they're out there on their own and they're no longer interested in what you have to say or what you have to do or your opinion for that matter. Yes, you're still a mother, but your calling to be a mother or your calling to be a father has come to a close. That's that season. Now does that make you not be a mother or not make you be a father? You're always a mother or a father. But the season of you having to fill the gaps for the children has come to a close, right? But during that time that it was open, that was your calling. To be that mother, to be that father, right? Or your calling may be for a moment. This has happened to me several times. I'm driving down the street and there's some bad wreck or something. And everybody's standing there with their phones. And all I can do, and I don't even see them standing there with their phones. All I can do is think about this. Someone is in that vehicle. Someone is in there. They may be bleeding. They may be burned. They may be cut. Someone needs to do something about it. I always carry a first responders kit in my vehicle. And it supplies medical equipment for anything from a mass shooting to a broken bone. And so when I see something like that, it's not even a second thought. It's like I shapeshift into something else. It's the soldier, I know that much, but it's also something from a previous life where I was some type of first responder because I don't have any fear. I just go straight into rescue mode that somebody needs help. And the last time it happened, I'm putting the bandage on the young man's head. I can smell alcohol. The wife is over there screaming, or the girlfriend's over there screaming and hollering. The kids are trying to get out of the car. From my car to that vehicle accident, I told the children, like I'm playing it back now. I told the children, you stay in the car, don't come out. Those aren't my children, but that was my immediate response to the wife. Calm down. You're screaming and hollering isn't helping anything. Stay calm. And then talking to the male counterpart that was in the vehicle that was drunk as a skunk and telling him, you need to calm down. We need to get you to the hospital. You're either going to the hospital from here or you're going to jail. It's up to you. Bandaging his head, stopping the bleeding. He's worried about his cell phone. I don't know what he has on his cell phone, but he's worried about his cell phone. And so I reach in the vehicle, I get his cell phone, I put it in his hand. Here's your cell phone. Now get to the hospital. And they ended up leaving before the ambulance or the police came. Right? I don't know what the story was. But by the time I had did all that, I looked up and there were several people standing around with their cell phones and they were just watching me. But when I was in that moment, it felt like that everybody was helping me. That we were all doing this together and we're getting this family safe. But when I came back to myself, it was only me. And so that was my calling for that moment. So there's different levels to callings, right? There's different levels. Identifying what level you are on in the moment is important because you can get stuck. You can get stuck in the illusion, in the facade, in the mask that we've created around ourselves that we have to stay there. You don't have to stay. Now, when you move on, does that make you not be what you previously were? Absolutely not. Because if I don't serve plant medicine 4 times a year, right? If I just stop doing that, and this time next year, somebody says, hey, Lisa, come be a part of this ceremony, I'm going to drop right into character. Just like if you dropped me into the woods and told me that I had to survive, I'm going to drop right into my soldier mode. Just because you evolve does not make you not be that, beloved. You have to evolve in this lifetime. You cannot be stuck, and you can't let people allow you to be stuck. That is ego. The spirit cannot stay between 4 walls. The spirit cannot stay behind a mask. It has to evolve. And on this day, today, I'm encouraging you to release those things that no longer serve you, to shift it where it does serve you, to honor your spirit, to honor your path, to honor this 3D life that you have right here, right now, this one that you signed up for to come back in. Because at the end of the day, you are a human first, and then you are a being. A human is this 3D realm. The being may be your calling, but you have to honor both. You have to honor both. And I'm hoping for you and for myself that we evolve to whatever spirit has for us next, because it can only get better. It can only get more beautiful. It can only be as we evolve through this life, yeah? Because this being ages. Life is lifing. This being changes, yeah? The spirit lives forever. But the spirit cannot stay in this being at the same level forever. It has to evolve into something else. So I'm wishing you the very best on your journey. I'm wishing me the very best on mine. Thank you for tuning into my channel, Closing the Gap. We make a conscious effort to meet you where you're at on your healing and your spiritual journey. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and ring that bell notification so that you know when I upload. We're going places. See you later.